Today's daf we're going to learn is Shabbat Daf Kuf Lamed. We're starting the 19th parak, a very interesting chapter, which is called Rabbi Eliezer Demila. Why is it called Rabbi Eliezer Demila and not just Rabbi Eliezer? Well, that's because the next chapter also starts off with Rabbi Eliezer. So this one is called Rabbi Eliezer Demila to distinguish it from the next parak. It's all about Brit Milah, different things that we know that Brit Milah can be done on Shabbat. And the question is going to be, what aspects of a Brit Milah can be done on Shabbat and what can't be done? There's a sheet for today. If somebody wants to post it in the chat, that would be great. And the issue becomes, what can we push off for Shabbat and what can't we? And all different issues about Brit Milah are going to come up. So we're going to start with the first big machloket, which is a very basic machloket between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Akiva. And actually, the rabbis are on Rabbi Akiva's side against Rabbi Eliezer. This is the famous Rabbi Eliezer ben Horkanos, who ends up in a big fight with the rabbis in Tanuol Shalachnai, which we'll learn when we get to Bava Metzia. And he becomes excommunicated, and he always seems to have these unique opinions. And again, here he has a unique opinion. So Rabbi Eliezer Omer, with that we'll get started. Im lo hevi kli me'erev Shabbat, mevio b'Shabbat megule. If you didn't bring the knife for the Brit Milah, so you need a certain implement to do the Brit Milah. If you don't have it, then you're allowed to bring it on Shabbat, meaning you can carry it through the public domain, bring from public to private, it seems, right? You can do it as usual. Migule, but you do it in a very noticeable way, meaning you show everybody that you're carrying this knife for the Brit Milah. We're going to see in the Gemara, they give two possibilities as to what it is, why you have to do it migule, and do you have to, or is it just you can? We'll see what this is. Ubesakana, but in a time of danger. What's a time of danger? Time of danger would be when people are, or at least according to Rashi, when people are forbidding, right? When the non-Jews forbade people to do Brit Milah, which we know happened in different time periods. In fact, we're going to see in the Gemara today a time period when that happened. So if it's a time of sakana and then you don't want to be bringing the knife, let's say you're risking your life to do a Brit Milah, you're certainly not going to carry your knife in public on Shabbat and show everybody, oh, look, I'm going to do this mitzvah. So what do? Mechaseu al piedin. You do it covered, put it kind of under your shirt, you hide it so nobody can see, and you have witnesses who, we're going to have to see exactly what these witnesses do, but it sounds from the Mishnah like the witnesses come and say, we're going to make sure, we're going to testify to the fact that you're doing this for Brit Milah so that people don't suspect you of doing it for some other reaon. Additionally, Rabbi Eliezer said, it's not just that you can carry from domain to domain and pass from domain to domain this knife that you need, but even kortim etzim la'asot pachamim, you can even chop down trees to make coals, la'asot barzel, in order to create the implement. Let's say you don't have a sharp knife to do the Brit Milah, so we allow you to even cut trees to prepare the fire to create a utensil like this. Klal amar Rabbi Akiva, here comes the dissenting opinion. Which we probably think was obvious. If you can't do this before, if you could have done it before Shabbat, eino dochet Shabbat. You could have made that implement yesterday. If you didn't do that, well, it's your fault and you miss out, and then you can't do your Brit Milah bismana, but you certainly can't go preparing your knife or even carrying your knife on Shabbat. And umilah, or we either have this word or we don't have this word, but either which way, it's saying Shabbat. Let's say, like the milah itself. Well, the Brit Milah itself, you can't do before Shabbat because it's not yet the time, right? We're assuming we're talking about a baby who's the 8th day falls on Shabbat. Since you couldn't do a Erev Shabbat, then it's dochet Shabbat. That will override Shabbat. I agree with you about that. Anything that you can do before, preparing the knife, making sure the knife is in the right place, that's dochet Shabbat. Ibayilahu. So now Rashi. Oh, first of all, Tosfot has a good question. Okay, I'll just bring up the question. And in fact, in Gefet this week, Chana Dreyfus talks about this Tosfot, and Tosfot asks a good question, and about this concept that's going to come up in the Gemara. Our main topic is this issue of chibuve mitzvah, that we want to show how much we love doing mitzvot. And Rashi asks, why don't you bring the tinok to the kli? Why don't we carry the tinok? And he says, because chai nosei et atzmo, and therefore, since the live being, now again, we always distinguish between chai nosei et atzmo, if you remember, we talked about it, that it only works if the child can actually carry themselves, as opposed to a baby. But it seems here that maybe some people thought even any baby is considered chai nosei et atzmo, and it's not forbidden midoraita to carry. So why don't we do that? And they suggest some questions, but then they say the tinot needs the mother, and the mother can't be moved because we're not going to move her because she's sick, and the baby's going to need the mother after the Brit Milah, right? They don't talk about, oh, well, the mother wants to be at the Brit Milah, but the issue of the baby needing the mother after the Brit, and that's why they don't move the baby. So then they'd also have to move the mother. Anyway, it's a whole question there about that. But leaving that aside, let's go on. So now the Gemara asks the very important question. Tama de Rabbi Eliezer mishum chibuve mitzvah, odo mishum chashada. Is the reason why you do this out in the open and you show everybody your knife, is it because you want to show people how much I love doing mitzvot? Okay, how I'm so excited to do a Brit Milah. Which, by the way, Brit Milah is not always the easiest mitzvah, and you're not like always excited about doing it. I mean, we are to a certain extent because we make a party, we celebrate, right? We have a big celebration. Some people say this comes from Avraham, who did biyomi gamelet beno and mishteh. But anyway, the issue is we want to show excitement for the mitzvah, or is it because we don't want people to suspect that we're actually carrying something that has nothing to do with a Brit Milah and that we're carrying on Shabbat? If you hide something under your clothes, well, maybe someone will notice you're hiding something, and then they'll suspect you. So first, the Gemara says, "L'may nafkamina." What's the relevance? What's the difference? Whether you're doing it because of chibuvei mitzvah, or you're doing it mishum chashada. La tuye mechuseh al pi edim. Okay, that's the nafkamina. Can you bring it covered based on witnesses? If you said it's because you want to show everyone that you love doing the mitzvah, then you really have to do it out in the open. If it's just that we're suspicious that you might come, it will arouse suspicion, then you could do it covered as long as you have witnesses to say, oh, right, this person's doing it for the right reasons. So, what is the halacha? Itmar, Amar Rabbi Levi, lo Amar Rabbi Eliezer, elel chibuvei mitzvah. So first of all, we're going to have a number of proofs that it's chibuvei mitzvah. Number one, Rabbi Levi says it explicitly that the reason why Rabbi Eliezer holds this way, that you're supposed to do it out in the open, is to show how much you love doing mitzvah. Tanya namihachi, mivio meguleh ve'ein mivio mechuseh, divrei Rabbi Eliezer. It says, there's a braita that says specifically, Rabbi Eliezer holds, you have to bring it uncovered and not covered. So there you see also. Rav Ashi, and Rav Ashi says we can even derive it from our Mishnah. Matnitin nami daika, you can derive it from there. Dikatani, as it says in the Mishnah, ubishat sakana mechaseu al piedim. So what does that sound like? B'sakana in shelo b'sakana lo. It sounds like only if it's a time of sakana, but not if there's no danger, not if nobody's saying we can't keep the mitzvah. Shma mina mishum chibuvei mitzvah shma mina. It sounds like the only time you could do it mechus al piedim is if it's shat sakana, and therefore we can derive from here that it's mishum chibuvei mitzvah, which is very interesting. This concept of chibuvei mitzvah and how one's supposed to show how much one loves doing a mitzvah. I was thinking this whole thing, mitzvah gedola liyopa simcha, right? It doesn't appear in the Torah that there's a mitzvah liyopa simcha. But here, this concept of loving to do a mitzvah and doing a mitzvah out of love and excitement, right? There's importance to it and there's halachic relevance to it. Okay, Tanya Idach. Now we're going to have another braita. Here, there's a minor variation of our Mishnah, and then they're going to ask a question. Right? So this is what we saw before. You bring it uncovered, you don't bring it covered. Divrei Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Mishum Rabbi Eliezer, he adds, in the name of Rabbi Eliezer, Noagim ayu b'shat sakana. Our Mishnah just appeared as Rabbi Eliezer. Here it says that Noagim ayu b'shat sakana, in a time of danger, Shayu mevi'im mechuseh al pi edim, that they would bring it covered with edim. Now, what's the difference between this and our Mishnah? Our Mishnah said, "B'sakana mechaseu al pi edim." It sounded like when you got the knife ready to carry, you went in front of witnesses, you testified that you were doing this, or they saw that you were doing this for their reasons, and then you took it. Here it goes so far as to say they actually walk with you, these witnesses. So now the Gemara wants to know, that's why it says, mivi'im, you carry it with these witnesses alongside you. So we buy edim dekamar, iu v'chad, odel mahu v'trei. When they say with witnesses, now normally we say witnesses is two. And it seems like, you'd have to bring two people with you, or do you only need one? Now, why would you think you only need one? Well, there's this concept that eid echad ne'aman b'isurin. When it comes to going to court and testifying about things, then it seems to say that when you go to court, you need two witnesses for dina mamonot, for dina nefashot, right? For whether it's a monetary issue you have with a friend, or you're arguing about something, or it's did someone kill someone, you need two witnesses. But when it comes to just kind of proving that you're doing the right thing, maybe only one witness is enough. Like, for example, you can eat at someone's house if they say, I keep kosher, because that's one witness, right? So you have enough to say one witness, right? Then they have to be a kosher witness. There's all different issues about that, but that's this concept of Eid Chaneman Bisurin. We're going to see that further on in Shas. Comes up a few times. So the question is it just him and one person, or him and two people? So Tashma, let's learn from here. Ubesakana mechaseu al piedim. In a time of danger, you cover it based on, right? You take it covered with edim. Well, it sounds pretty obvious that you need two plus the person, because iyamart bishlamahu utre shapir. If you say he and two more, that makes a lot of sense. Ela iyamart hu v'chad my edim. So what do they answer? No, you could still say it's he and one other person, and the edim include him. Now, even though you can't testify about yourself, what do they say here? Really, you only need one witness. And then you have yourself. Now, since it would only be in a case, though, let's say it were me and my brother. So the two of us can't testify together. Well, women can't testify in general. That's a whole separate issue. But let's just say for the sake of argument. So me and my brother were relatives. That means we can't testify together. So that wouldn't work. If he came next to me, that wouldn't work. It has to be someone who comes with me who theoretically both of us could testify together in court about something else. And that's why it's called Eidim, because it's the two of us can function as Eidim somewhere else, but really you only need one person to walk alongside them to prove that they're doing it for the right reasons. You have to wonder, I mean, this whole thing about people suspecting you, people who suspect don't always ask the question and then don't always find out the answer from the person who's with you. So it's a little bit tricky to say this whole thing that this works, but I'll leave that issue aside, that we're obviously talking about that people will suspect, and if they ask, at least we have someone to say. And you yourself aren't believed, but if there's someone else to testify for you, then yes. And then it also makes a lot of sense that it wouldn't be your relative, because your relative is always going to try to cover for you. So it would have to be somebody from the outside. Okay, now we're back to this thing about Rabbi Eliezer saying you could even chop down trees in order to prepare the fire, in order to make the utensil. Tanu Rabbanan. Here we get to a very interesting line. Even though Rabbi Eliezer is not the mainstream opinion, but in the city where he lived, people would do this. Okay, and later we're even going to see more than just this statement, but right now we're saying the people in his town would do like him. And since they're already telling us about this, they're going to tell us another situation. Rabbi Yossi Aglili, who had a unique opinion about something else, Hayu ochlim basar och bechalav. Okay, there's a whole debate about whether you can eat the milk of a bird, okay, a chicken, whether chicken's milk whether chicken doesn't have milk, we're going to get to that, whether milk can be eaten with chicken. Okay, that's the question. Can you eat milk with chicken? We all know we don't eat milk with chicken, but in fact, it's not forbidden by Torah law. It's only forbidden by rabbinic law. And Rabbi Yossi Aglili thought that it was permitted entirely. And in his town, this is what's interesting, in his town, people would eat chicken with milk. Okay, it was not a problem. What do you learn from here? This is very interesting. First of all, they assume that this means before the halacha became firmly established, but yet it's still yachid v'rabim halachat kirabim. When we have a majority opinion, we always follow the majority. But we learned here that if you're living in the town of the individual, who's the one who disagreed with everybody else, that town can keep by their rabbi's opinion, even if others disagree. It's a very interesting thing that happens, that can develop here, where there's these unique pockets where they might hold like a particular opinion and do differently from everybody else. Here it seems to limit it to just people who are living in the town of that rabbi. But we'll see if there's another rabbi who holds like that rabbi, then theoretically in his town also you can do the same. And now we're going to learn about, we're going to go more in depth about this. Levi ikla lebe Yosef Rishba. He came to the house of Yosef Rishba. Krivu le resha detavta. They brought him the head of a peacock, bechalva, with milk. Lo achal. So when Levi got there, he says, "I'm not eating this. This is milk and I'm eating a bird with milk. This doesn't seem right." Ki ata l'kamei de Rebbe, amar le, amai lo tashamtiu. When he got to Rebbe, he said, Why are you putting this guy in excommunication for doing this? He's going against the mainstream opinion. Amar le, Atre to Rabbi Yehuda ben Betera Hava. He says, look, this is the place where Rabbi Yehuda ben Betera is the rabbi. And Va'amina, and I'd say, this goes back to what we said about being dan kol adam l'chaf zchut. He says, right, always trying to look on the good side. He says, Dilma darish luka Rabbi Yossi Aglili. In other words, I'm not going to put someone in excommunication if he has an opinion to rely on. Maybe because he lives in the city of Rabbi Yehuda ben Betera, maybe Rabbi Yehuda ben Betera holds like Rabbi Yossi Aglili. And therefore, that's why he ate it. So don't start, what's interesting is Levi comes to his house, and he doesn't know what's going on in that community. And he gets all upset. And Rebbe says, maybe they have their own custom. Titznan, and here comes the Mishnah of Rabbi Yossi Aglili. Rabbi Yossi Aglili, Omer, Ne'emar, lo tochlu kol nevela. In the same verse where it talks about not cooking milk and meat, remember it appears 3 times. One of the places it appears, it says don't eat any dead carcass, animal carcass. Now that includes even birds. V'ne'emar, and later on in that verse, the same verse, it says lo tavashel gdi b'chalev imo. So you might have thought, et shasur mishum nevela, asur levashel b'chalav of. You might have thought, whatever's forbidden because of a carcass, that you can't eat their carcass, meaning if it dies without being slaughtered, then you can't cook b'chalav of, b'chalav. So therefore, of shasur mishum nevela, yachol yeh asur levashel b'chalav. So therefore, one might have thought that chicken, birds would be in the same category. Talmud lomar b'chalav imo. Yatsa of she'en lo chalav em. But then we say, it can't be cooked in its mother's milk. Now, birds don't have milk. They're not mammals. So therefore, that's why Rabbi Yossi Aglili says this clearly doesn't apply. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak. Another. Okay, now, so if we've established so far that if you're living in a city where someone holds, where you're under that unique opinion, so you can hold by that unique opinion, but other places clearly can't. And it seems like the Gemara is saying these unique opinions are kind of unique opinions. And it's not really, okay, if you're in their town, so you hold by them, but it doesn't look like the Gemara thinks this is the greatest thing to do. But now the Gemara is going to bring proofs that this is actually a really good thing. If you're living in that city and you hold like them, there's positive, you get rewarded. We're going to see that the people in those cities got rewarded for various things. We're going to see. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, there was a city in Israel that did like Rabbi Elazar's custom where, now, what's so interesting here? They're breaking Shabbat against the mainstream psak that you can't break Shabbat, right? You're breaking Shabbat in order to prepare the knife, in order to do the Brit Milah. They all died in their proper time, meaning nobody died young in that town. What do you see? They got rewarded for doing like Rabbi Elazar. Now, you might say, this seems weird. I mean, they're lenient, and this doesn't seem like a good thing. So first of all, the Gemara is showing, I think it goes back to the whole chibuvei mitzvah issue, which is, it's showing how important it was for them to do Brit Milah, that if they forgot to take care of things before, they hadn't done it, we even allow them to do it on Shabbat. It shows how much they cared about the mitzvah. And even though the mainstream psak is not that way, they still got rewarded for this. And here we're going to see even more so. Told you we'd see a case like this, where the Romans forbade, I assume it's the Romans, forbade doing Brit Milah. Here you see a midah keneged midah. They got rewarded because they cared so much about doing the mitzvah that they even went against Shabbat in order to fulfill the mitzvah. So what do you see here? That they ended up getting rewarded, that they were able to keep on doing the mitzvah even when others were forbidden. The gezerah didn't apply to them. Okay, the decree. They weren't allowed to do Brit Milah, didn't apply. It seems like the Gemara is telling you they got rewarded for this. And in light of that whole thing, we're going to now get off on a tangent, which is actually something we learned already on Daf Mem Tet. The first line not, but after that, it's going to be a whole repeat sugya from Daf Mem Tet. I'm not going to go into depth into all the things I said then. If you're interested and you don't remember, or you weren't with us at that point, you can go back to Mem Tet and listen to the shiur there, where we talked a lot about these statements. Tanya in the story of, I'll already tell you, it's the story of Elisha Baal Knafayim. Tanya Rashba Gomel. Okay, there's a brayta that says that Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel says, Kol mitzvah shekiblu aleihem b'simcha. Here we get back to this issue of simcha. This we didn't see in the other sugya. Kigon milah, like Brit Milah, that they accepted upon themselves with happiness. How do we know this? Dichtiv sas anochi al imratecha kemosei shalal rav. I rejoice in, this is a pasuk in Tehillim, saying, I rejoice, God, in your sayings, as if I found a large amount of booty from a war. Okay, that's how much I love what you say. Now, what does this have to do with Brit Milah? Some people say, well, when Avram gets the commandment to do Brit Milah, it doesn't say Vayidaber Hashem al Avraham like it says all the time. Vayidaber Hashem al Moshe lemor, he spoke to him. It says Vayomer. So the Amirah of Brit Milah was accepted by Avram b'simcha, and from there, there's some people who explained it otherwise, but we'll stick with that. So that Amirah was accepted with happiness, and therefore, that's what the Sas Anochi Ali Martecha comes to say, that we accepted the mitzvah with happiness. Adayin osino ta b'simcha. If people first accepted it b'simcha, it will continue to be done b'simcha. Okay, this is almost like Maaseh Avot Siman Labanim. In other words, if it's done properly the first time, then, or in the beginning, then it will continue to be done like that throughout the years. How do we do it b'simcha? Well, first of all, we make a big party, right? You would think of Brit Milah, especially I know sometimes for the mother, it's not the most easiest thing when this happens. You know, the baby's crying and it's, you know, it's not the easiest thing. And yet we do it b'simcha and we have a party and we celebrate with our friends. But the reverse, if you accept it with fighting and argumentation and you're not happy about it, kigon arayot, like the mitzvah of arayot. Now, where do we see? Right, all the forbidden relationships. Where do we see this? Okay, in the middle of the section of the Mitonanim, the people who complained in the desert that they wanted meat, all of a sudden it says that people were crying within their families. It seems weird. Why all of a sudden? Why is this a family-oriented thing? So the drasha is that they were crying about all the forbidden relationships that they were commanded. Now it seems weird. They were commanded about the arayot when they got the Torah, not when the Mitonanim happened. But I read somewhere, and it's very clear psychology, right? When maybe they were upset about them, but they didn't really complain. But once you're complaining about something, so then you start bringing up all the other complaints, right? When you're in a bad way, you all of a sudden start complaining about all sorts of things that you were able to handle at other times, but at this point you're not. So they started complaining about arayot. So now what's the punishment? Or again, these could be viewed as punishment, or it could be viewed as the natural outgrowth, right? If you start off with argumentation, well, then it's going to continue with argumentation. So what's the argumentation? This is a funny line. So now the issue of arayot is still done b'ktata. Now arayot is kind of what happens when you get married, right? When you get married, you become forbidden to all these other people, the brother, the sister, all that. I mean, some of them you're forbidden with from before, but some of them are related to marriage. So they're now going to say that marriage happens b'ktata. Deleka k'tuba delo ramu batigra. There's no ketubah that there's no argument about, right? Because what's a ketubah? It's all the money husband's committing to the wife. So the husband's family fights with the wife's family, how much money and what's going to go to me and what's going to go to you and blah, blah, blah. And, lots of fights happen around it. And therefore, that's all because of the Mochel Mishpachotav. Tanya Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar Amar. Now, this is what we saw before. If the people were moser nefesh, they said, I'm giving up my life for this mitzvah. I'm going to do it anyway, even though the enemy doesn't allow me to do it. Kigon, like what? Avodat kochavim, not worshiping idols when they tried to force us to worship idols. Umilah, and keeping Brit Milah when they tried to force us not to do it. Adayin hi muchzeket biyadam. This is also classic psychology. If you're going to push the limits, right, and do anything you can to keep that mitzvah going, that mitzvah is going to keep on going. But things people weren't willing to go out on a limb for, kigon tefillin, okay, and this we had a whole discussion, why weren't people keeping tefillin? Okay, we'll leave that back to Daf Mem Tet. Adayin hu merufe biyadam. People don't keep this mitzvah so well. Okay, tefillin is not as well accepted, right? If you ask the average person, what percentage of Jews do Brit Milah, circumcision, versus what percentage wear tefillin, the percentage of tefillin wearers is much less than the percentage of Brit Milah wearers. And apparently all Brit Milah doers, whatever, doing Brit Milah. And you see here that this was true also in their time. It's interesting. Now, how do we know that people weren't really keeping this mitzvah? And the way we're going to see it is because of this one unique individual who did do it against the Roman decree and sacrificed his life, but he was one out of many, and it seemed like other people weren't doing it. And that's how we get to Elisha Baal Knafayim. Rabbi Yana says you need to have a clean body like Elisha Baal Knafayim. You have to, okay, what does it mean to have a clean body? You shouldn't let out gas while you're wearing your tefillin. Rav Amar shelo yisham behem. Shouldn't sleep with them because you might let out gas while you're sleeping. Okay, so this is all that we talked about this then. That it's a little bit of not clear connection. The assumption is that since Elisha Bal Knafayim was Moser Nefesh, he must have also been very careful about how he wore his tefillin and treated it with kavod and made sure that if he was going to let out gas, he took his tefillin off first and then did. Why was he called Elisha the wing, right? The guy with the wings. He obviously didn't fly, so what was the issue here? There was a time when there was a decree. Anyone who puts tefillin on their head, they will take out their brains. Okay, this is clear. There's a connection. They were saying, don't put that on your head. If you do, we'll knock out your brain. He did it anyway, and he even went out in public. This sounds similar to taking out the knife in public. Now, it's very different because taking out the knife in public wasn't against the gzerah. In our mission, it said you don't even have to do that, right? In a time of gzerah, you can hide it. But he wanted to show it all off. Okay, so then this Roman official saw him. He ran away. And the Roman officer or official ran after him. Kevan Shiget, slowly finally caught up with him. He took them off his head and he put it in his hand. Amarle, Mabiatcha, he said, what's in your hand? Amarlo, Kanfei Yonah, he said, wings of a dove. Pashat et yado, he opened his hand up. V'nimtze uba Kanfei Yonah, and lo and behold, in his hands was the wings of a dove. Leficha, hayu kolinoto bal knafayim, and that's how he got his name. Maishna Kanfei Yonah, why specifically Kanfei Yonah? Da Amarle, below Amarle Sharafot. Why did he say specifically Kanfei Yonah and not any other bird? Mishum dedamya Knesset Israel Yonah. The Jewish people are compared to a dove. Shene'amar Kanfei Yonah nechpa b'kesef evrotea b'yaraka charutz. That the wings of a dove are covered with gold and I forgot evrotea, but with green yarakrak charutz. Ma Yonah zo. What do they want to learn from here? Knafei miginot aleha. Af Yisrael mitzvot miginot alehem. What do we learn from here? That, right, thank you. The Yerakrak Charutz is a silver. So, sorry, is brilliant gold. Okay, there's silver and gold, and brilliant gold. So anyway, what's this Yonah, this dove? What's unique about a dove? We talked about this then, that doves are different because they don't attack other animals that are trying to attack them. The only thing they have that prevents them from is their wings. Their wings, they can flap their wings very quickly, and that's what prevents other birds from getting to them. So, knafeha miginot aleha, and only their wings. Af Yisrael mitzvot miginot alehem. Only the mitzvot protect you, and this is a nice closure to the whole thing of chivuvei mitzvah. That's why we should love mitzvot, because they protect us and they provide us with protection. That's the best way to get protection, is to keep mitzvot. That's the way we believe. That provides us with the real protection that we need. Okay, Amar Rabbi Abba, now we're moving on. Amar Rabbi Abba, Amar Rabbi Rav Ada, Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, Pam Achat Shachachu V'lo Hiviu Isma Me'erev Shabbat. We're now going to have a story. They forgot to bring it before Shabbat. Ve'heviu b'Shabbat derech gagot v'derech chatzerot shelo b'ritzam Rabbi Eliezer. So what they do, they carried it through the roofs and the courtyards. Now, what are we talking about here? So you have to understand, this is a good intro to Eruvin. We're getting to Eruvin soon. We're going to start talking about some issues relating to Eruv today. So how does it work? First of all, they lived in houses. The houses opened up into courtyards. So a few houses had a shared courtyard, and then a few courtyards had a shared mavoi, which is an alleyway. We're going to see today that the chatzer generally had walls on all sides. It was closed in space. The mavoi was open on one side generally to the public space. Because of that, we're always more stringent in a mavoi rather than a chatzer. Okay, how do you fix these, by the way? Like an eruv, that's what an eruv does basically. So if you want to carry within the chatzer, from the house to the chatzer to the house, so theoretically, let's actually go back before we even get to here. What's forbidden by Torah law? To carry from a private domain to a public domain. Now, all these are not public domains. They're semi-private because they're only for a certain number of people. They're not public like we've talked about. Rishut Rabim has all sorts of criteria. So by Torah law, you can actually carry in these spaces. But the rabbis prohibited, because they said if we allow in these kind of spaces, people might come to carry, especially in the mavoi, you might come to carry in Rishut Rabim, or even in the chatzer where it's joined by a bunch of people. So what did they say? You can do two things. We call it an eruv, but really there's two different things that work. One is for the chatzer and one is for the mavoi, and they're called different names. So an eruv chatzerot is something we do in the chatzer, and that's just putting out food. We say, all of us who live in these houses that open up into this courtyard, we're going to be together with food. We're going to buy some food that's for all of us. They usually leave it in one of the houses, or they could leave it in the chatzer if it's protected. And they're all considered together, and their domain becomes one domain where they can all then carry within that domain. Again, there's lots more details. We're not going to get into it until we get to Eruvin. But in the Mavoi, that's not enough. You could do something like that, and it's called Shitufei Mevo'ot, which is we all go together with food. We put some food together for all the people living in the Mavoi, which again is more people than in the courtyard. But because it opens up into the public, that's not sufficient. You need to put up either a lechi, a beam standing, a vertical beam, or a horizontal beam, which is a korah, near the entrance. And that functions either in one of two ways. There's a debate about it. Is it that we look as if it's a virtual mechitza, as if there's a wall coming down, either from the beam that's going horizontal at the top of the entrance to the mavoi, and then we look at it as if it drops down, or on the side, the lechi, as if it kind of covers the whole space? Or is it just a heker, something noticeable that reminds us, oh, remember, we're in a mavoi, we're not in the public, and that's why we can carry within here. Okay, so you need two things for the mavoi, either a lechi or korah and the food. But the whole issue of not carrying from private domain to private domain, let's say my house to your house, okay, and things that we talked about before, that even though midoraita, I could carry from my house to your house, but the rabbis forbade that kind of carrying, even though, again, only public to private is forbidden. But they forbade it anyway. However, they didn't include areas where people generally don't use, like rooftops and chatzerot even, where people don't carry in the chatzer. Like maybe you could carry from one chatzer to another. I can't carry from my house to the chatzer and then from the chatzer to another chatzer. But if things were in the chatzer itself, then theoretically, maybe I could carry from that chatzer to another chatzer, or to a rooftop, or to a karpaf, which is a place that was surrounded with a wall, but it's not used for living purposes. So all these places aren't used so much, so the rabbis didn't necessarily say it was forbidden to do that. Okay, and there's a machloket. If you look at the sheet, I brought a Mishnah in Eruvin, which we're going to get to. Okay, we're going to get to today, part of it. So the Mishnah in Eruvin on Perek Tet Mishnah Aleph says, Kol gagot ha'ir reshut echad. There's a three-way machloket about how we view these rooftops and the courtyards and the karpafs. So all the gagot of the city are considered one reshut. Ubevad shelo yehe gag gavo asara u'nemuch asara. We're not going to get into that really, but basically they're saying you can carry from roof to roof according to Divrei Rabbi Meir. He thinks that all the roofs, since people don't live on their roof, you can basically carry any item that's in one roof. You can basically go from rooftop to rooftop in your city and carry whatever you want. Now, you can't take something from the house into the roof and carry it to another house through the roofs, but you can carry from roof to roof. The Chachamim omrim, kol echad ve'echad reshut b'fnei atzmo. No, the rabbis say each roof is its own reshut. You can't carry from one to the other. Rabbi Shimon, and this is the opinion we're going to see in our Gemara, echad gagot ve'echad chatzirot ve'echad karpifot, reshut echadhem lekelim sheshavtu letochan. If the kli was in there before Shabbat, that's what it means, kelim sheshavtu. If the kli was there, then these are all one reshut, meaning not only, like Rabbi Meir said, from Gag to Gag, you can move from roof to chatzer to karpaf, all around the city if you want, as long as the utensil was there before Shabbat. You can move around whatever you want, but just not lekelim sheshavtu b'toch habayit. You can't take anything that was in the house. Okay, so going back to our case. So one time they forgot to bring this utensil from before Shabbat to do the Brit Milah. They brought it on Shabbat through the Gagot and the Chatzerot. Shelo b'ritzon Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer was not happy with them. So now, Matkefla Rabbi Yosef. Shelo b'ritzon Rabbi Eliezer. What do you mean? Adrabah. Wasn't Rabbi Eliezer who deshari? He's the one who said you can do this. So what? All of a sudden, it wasn't what he wanted. V'chite ma shelo b'ritzon Rabbi Eliezer deshari afilu b'reshut harabim. Rabbi Eliezer didn't exactly say you should carry it through the Gagot or Chatzerot. What did he say? He said you could carry it into the public domain. So for him, he might have been upset that you did it in this way because he said you should be doing it the quickest way possible. If you want to show chibuvei mitzvah, that you love doing the mitzvah, do it out in the open. Do it the regular way. Go against Shabbat, right? It's like a doctor going to the hospital, right? You go and you do it, and it's clear you're doing it for the right reason. So maybe it means that it was shelo b'ritzon because he thinks you should have just done it in the regular way you would carry it and not some backhanded way. And therefore, Ella, well, if it's shelo b'ritzon Rabbi Eliezer, it has to be b'ritzon somebody else. And they must have done it according to someone else and just not like Rabbi Eliezer. So what would it be? Ella b'ritzon Rabbanan. Dasru derech reshut harabim, usharu derech gagot v'derech chatzerot karpipot. So it must be, in other words, what's he saying? Remember, we started this with B'chi Tema. If you want to say it was Shelo B'Tzam Rabbi Eliezer, but it was like the rabbis, because the rabbi said you could do it. Remember, the rabbi said you can't do Tzorchei Milah, right? You can only do the Brit Milah itself. Nothing that you could have done before Shabbat, and this, obviously, you could have brought this before Shabbat. But they do allow it through the Chatzerot and Karpifot. But that doesn't make any sense. Well, Mishari, do they really allow this? The Hatanya, doesn't it say, Kashem Shemi V'inoto, Kashem She'em V'inoto, Derech Rishut HaRabim, Kach Em V'inoto, Lo Derech Gagofa, Lo Derech Karpifot, Lo Derech Chatzerot, which matches Chachamim in the Mishnah we saw in Eruvin. The Chachamim don't think that you can carry from roof to courtyard. They don't think so. So if they're going to forbid you from carrying out into public, they're also going to forbid you from carrying it this way. So therefore, we're still stuck with what does it mean, Shelo B'Tzam Rabbi Eliezer? So El Amar Rav Ashi, he explains, Shelo B'Tzam Rabbi Eliezer u'machlokto. It was against Rabbi Eliezer and the one who disagrees with Rabbi Eliezer, meaning it was against Rabbi Eliezer, it was against the rabbis. It still has to be, within someone's opinion, Ela B'Tzam Rabbi Shimon. It must be, they did it according to Rabbi Shimon, and this is what we saw. In other words, theoretically, they held the one generally can't carry this, like the rabbis. However, against the rabbis, they permitted carrying it in this backhanded way. As long as, now the assumption is, although there are some who question this assumption, I'll tell you two options. The assumption was either the knife or the scalpel was already in a chatzer or in a rooftop or in a karpaf, and they carried it that way from one to the other. Or maybe in general, you can carry derech chatzer only if it was kelim sheshaftu. But in this case, for the mitzvah, they matired it even though it was in the house, as long as you did it through the rooftop. So there's a debate about this, and there's obviously an important nafkamina, which is if you're doing it for a mitzvah, is it allowed in this kind of way? So anyway, they say it must be against Rabbi Eliezer, against the rabbis, but within the opinion of Rabbi Shimon. Okay. Ba'amine Rabbi Zera mi Rabbi Asi. This is going to take us to the end of the daf, but we're not going to actually even finish this today. We're going to be kind of, this is one of those dapim where you're really stuck in the middle without, you're going to have to go to sleep tonight not understanding something. But we'll start with this question. Ba'amine Rabbi Zera mi Rabbi Asi. He asked the following question. Mavoy shelo nishtatfu bo, ma'u litaltel bekulo. If you have a mavoy, okay, this is why I gave you the whole background of the mavoy before. If you have a mavoy that they didn't do shitufei mavot, some people say it has a lechi or a korah, it has the beam, either going vertically or horizontally, but you didn't put food down, okay? So now, can you carry within this mavoy, okay, more than 4 amot? Okay, right, remember, Reshut HaRabim, you can't carry more than 4 amot. The mavoy is treated kind of like Reshut HaRabim, but maybe, again, assuming if you stuck up a lechi or korah, maybe that's enough to allow us to carry more than 4 amot with inside the mavoy. Mi amrinan kechatzer dame. Do we say this is just like a courtyard? And by the way, they mean if the item was in the mavoy before Shabbat. We don't mean carrying from your house to the mavoy or the courtyard to the mavoy, but if it was within the mavoy before, could you carry there? Mi amrinan, do we say, here are the two sides. Kechatzer dame, it's like a chatzer. Ma chatzer afagav delo irvu mutar letaltel bekulo. This is what we saw before. The chatzer itself, now, before we had a machloket, can you move from chatzer to chatzer? But within the courtyard itself, if you left something out in the chatzer, you're allowed to carry that item within the entire chatzer. So do we treat a mavoy the same way? Even if you didn't do an eruv in the chatzer, what are we not allowed to do that you need an eruv for in the chatzer? To carry from my house to your house, to carry from my house to the courtyard. But if it was in the chatzer before Shabbat, the chatzer is its domain, and you can carry within that entire chatzer. So do we say it's like the chatzer, and afagav delo irvu mutar letaltel bekulo, you could carry in the whole thing? Hainami, so maybe we'd say the same about the mavoy. Afagav delo nishtatfu bo mutar letaltel bekulo, even though they didn't put joint food, you could still carry anything that was in the mavoy before Shabbat, could be carried within that space. O dilma lo dami lechatzer. Maybe you'd say no, because again, a mavoy is in between a chatzer and a public domain. So maybe we'd say, what's the difference between a mavoy and a chatzer? They're going to say two differences. The chatzer ilei arba mechitzot. Haileit le arba mechitzot. A chatzer is surrounded by 4 walls, whereas a mavoy is only surrounded usually by 3. Inami, sometimes even 2. It could be sometimes open on both sides to Reshut HaRabim. Inami, also, chatzer ilei diulin. People can live in a chatzer. They dwell there kind of thing. High late beit diulin. But in the mavoy, people are only passing through there. They don't actually hang out there. So what's the answer? Well, Rabbi Asi answers him, Shatik v'lo amar le v'lo midi. He was silent and he didn't say anything. He didn't know the answer. However, on another occasion, Rabbi Zera was with Rabbi Asi, and the following happened. There were times when he saw him, and he happened to be with Rabbi Asi. Rabbi Asi said, Amar Rav Shimon ben Lakish mishum Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. So there was a time, okay, Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish says in the name of Rabbi Yehuda that there was a time when they forgot, this is like our previous story, they forgot to bring the scalpel on Erev Shabbat, and they brought it on Shabbat. And the rabbis were very surprised. How did they ignore the rabbi's opinion and do like Rabbi Eliezer? Why? Chada, number one, Rabbi Eliezer Shamutehu. Okay, he's a Shamute. Two different interpretations what a Shamute is. Either he was put in excommunication because of Tanur Shalachnai's story, and we don't hold by people who are excommunicated, or Shamuti from the Lashon of Shammai. He was a guy who held like Beit Shammai in general, which is also part of the reason as to why they eventually excommunicated him. And we don't hold like Beit Shammai in general, so we shouldn't hold like him. Ve'od, and additionally, Yachid v'Rabim al-Chak Rabim. We know that if there's an individual versus the majority, we always follow the majority opinion. So they were confused about this story. V'amar Rabbi Yoshaya then piped in and said, She'ilit Rabbi Yehuda Gozer. I asked Rabbi Yehuda the Gozer, the cutter, meaning the mohel. I asked Rabbi Yehuda the mohel, who was there, and v'amar li, and he explained to me, Mavoy shelo nishtatfu bo hava. V'aitua mehai reisha v'hai reisha. The whole thing happened in a mavoy that didn't have shitufei mevo'ot. And what happened? The whole issue was they were just bringing it from one side of the mavoy to the other side of the mavoy. Okay, so what do you see here? So comes Rabbi Zera and he says, and that's why it was allowed even according to the rabbis. So Rabbi Zera says, wait a minute. Sfira le'lamar mavoy shalonish tatfu mutar l'taltel b'kulo. Are you saying, right, isn't this the question I asked you? You said you didn't know the answer. Aren't you saying when you quoted the statement that if you're in a mavoy, you can carry from one end to the other? So Amar Le, he says, yeah, in fact, I do hold that way. So Amar Le, what do you mean I hold that way? What do you mean? I asked you this question before and you never had an answer for me. But instead of just kind of attacking him, Rabbi Zera suggests, okay, he says, maybe Dilma agav shitvach rahit lach gemarach. Okay, what does this mean? Well, there's two different opposite interpretations. He says, maybe because you were in the middle of reciting Rish Lakish's opinion, it kind of came to you. In other words, as you were learning, the answer came to you, and it wasn't at your fingertips before. But now that you were learning Rish Lakish and you were learning that statement, so then it came to you the answer to that question. Or maybe it means the opposite. Maybe before you were so busy learning something else that you didn't remember the answer to this. Sometimes when you're engrossed in something, right? It happens to me when I teach the daf. I'm very thinking about this daf, and sometimes some other topic comes up and I can't remember the details anymore, right? If I were thinking clearly, I'd be able to remember the details. But while you're in the middle of thinking about one thing, it's very hard to think about something else. So either interpretation, either that's why you forgot it before, or that's why you remembered it now. So Amar Le, and this is very similar to all the stories we saw about Dan L'chaf Zchut, and the person said, what do you think of me? And then he said, oh, I thought this. And then the person said, oh, that's exactly right. So again, here answers Rabbi Asi, oh, that's exactly right. Amar Le in, agav shitva riatach li gamar. Yeah, it must be that you're right. That's why I didn't remember. Or that's why I remembered now. Okay, now we're going to start this part that has to do with what we were just talking about. But like I said, we're going to see something and it's very unclear. So at this point, we see that according to Rabbi Asi, who quotes from Rish Lakish, one can carry in a mavoy. We get an answer to our question. You can carry in a mavoy more than just your 4 amot, even if it doesn't have shitufei mavot. But Itmar, here we have a dissenting opinion. Amar Rabbi Zera, Amar Rav, mavoy shelo nishtatfu bo ein metaltalim bo ela b'daled amot. Here's the other opinion quoted in the name of Rav that Rabbi Zera says in the name of Rav. Interesting, because Rabbi Zera was the one who asked him the question before, and now Rabbi Zera quotes in the name of Rav the opposite opinion. One cannot do this. Amar Abaye, ha milta Amar Rabbi Zera v'lo pirsha. Rabbi Zera said this, and I didn't understand it. Ad da'ata Rabba Barvua u'pirsha. Okay, Rabbi Zera didn't explain this to me properly. I didn't really understand, but at some point, Rabba Barvua came and explained it. Da Amar Rav Nachman Amar Rav Barvua Amar Rav. He said in the name of Rav, Mavoy Shalon Ishtatfu Bo. Now we're going to have, I would say, colon. Okay, 2 options. And like I said, we won't understand this. You'll have to wait till tomorrow. Either Ervu Chatzerodim Batim. You could have 2 possibilities in a mavoy. Remember we said there's an Erev you do in the Chatzer, and there's Shitufei Mavoot, which is kind of an Erev that you do in the mavoy. let's say you did an Eruv in the Mavoi, but you didn't do an Eruv in the Mavoi, you didn't do an Eruv, a Shitufei Mavot in the Mavoi, but you did, you did do an Eruv for the Chatzerot with the houses. So the courtyards have an Eruv, but the Mavoi doesn't. And then we're going to see what if there is no Eruv in the Chatzer. The halacha is going to be different, and it might be a little counterintuitive to what you might have thought. If Irvu Chatzerot in Batim, if there's an Eruv between the courtyards, all the courtyards have an Eruv, but there's no Eruv in the Mavoi, which is where the courtyards all join up, Ein Metaltalim Bo Ela B'Daled Amot. Then you're not allowed to carry in the Mavoi at all, only your 4 Amot. Lo Irvu Chatzerot in Batim, Mutar L'Taltel B'Kulo. But if you didn't do an Eruv Chatzerot, then you can carry in the entire Mavoi. Okay, so sorry that I'm leaving you here hanging, but we'll get to this tomorrow. We'll understand why he says this and what the issue is. And there's a bunch of different opinions about how to understand this. Okay, with that, we'll finish for today. Have a good day, everybody.